Slacktail Squad, assemble.
So once again, before the Ron's interrupts me, for those of you who did not know, I am the Beef Man, and this is the Slaptail Squad. Let's get slapping! If you're listening to this, you're probably a member of the Slaptail Nation, and if you're not, well, we'd like you to be a member so that I can be your king and savior someday. Also, if you're listening to this and you've listened to it several times before, either one, you don't mind being offended, or you are offended, but you're listening anyway, which is also fine.
Sure.
With me today is I don't even know any adjectives to describe him. It's the Rons.
Hey, how you
He's
doing?
my number one.
Good
because
morning.
He refused to be my number two for some reason. And,
Yeah. Looking at Tremonde and Rick, you can tell right there that, the number two thing is not going to fly with anybody.
Oh yeah, why would it not fly? Have you not seen the Austin Powers movies? He says number two. He doesn't say number one.
Of
All right.
course,
Also
me.
with us today is Tremonde, looking good as always, sporting a robe for some reason. I don't know. Did you just roll right into that?
Pretty much. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. Who picked this time?
You
Yeah,
picked
oh,
this
yeah,
time.
let's
That's
go
you
there.
picked this time. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday.
I did.
You did. You picked this time.
I figured that we get it done early so then everyone can have the rest of their day.
Are you saying this is an inconvenience to do a podcast with us?
No, I'm looking out for you all.
Oh, I see. And why is that?
Because I'm a kind human being.
You're a kind human being. There you go.
Okay.
Kind human being. Also with us in his car is Woody, the Woodman, the Wood, the Rick, the Ricker, the Rickster, whatever he's decided to go by. I think he's changed his name on the page a couple times. Have you not?
You say car, I say sound studio. It's all a matter of perspective.
Apparently he's out BFE somewhere. Oh, who's that?
Well,
Look
that
at
was-
me.
Place like
Look at
me,
me. I'm
quiet.
important. Look at me. Look at me. I'm important. I'm gonna let you guys know that it's been a rough night for me. I could not fall asleep for some reason. Stayed up till around 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I couldn't sleep, and I've been up since 6:30. I did finish my workout, and whoever keeps dinging, I swear to fucking God, if you don't stop dinging, it's got to be Ron because he looks guilty. It's
Yeah.
you, isn't it?
It is because someone
see?
keeps sending me messages.
Who's sending you messages?
Oh, I don't know. Let me find out. Oh, looks like the Beef Man sending me messages.
Um,
I
From
don't know
when?
why you would do that, but hey,
From-
you're right. I should bring
When?
down my phone.
When did you get sent a message that is now showing up? Last night? Today?
Actually, no,
20
it's a
minutes ago?
download. Whoa.
I don't know what you're talking about. All right, so here's the rules of the Skype call. Because we're not face to face and we're still remote, I
Oh,
generally
you messaged everybody.
and you're just now getting it.
Well, it said connect. I'm pretty sure I don't need
I thought I
to.
was slow.
Yeah, I sent that message. Let's see.
906 is when it gets
8:52.
Okay.
8:52, dude.
So if I call Tremonde or the Rickster or Woody or whatever, okay, fine, fair enough. Fair enough. I won't call anybody in my phone.
Yeah, that was 15 minutes ago. So,
I'm sorry
Okay,
for interrupting.
see the
Continue.
runs.
all right. Anyway, so like I said, in person, it's okay for you to interrupt each other, which is great. I don't care. For the podcast, if you interrupt me in person, I'm gonna care. I don't like that. On a Skype call, it's kind of hard. So what we'll try to do is speak, pause. If you pause too long, then if we think you're not thinking, we're just gonna hop right in. Like if you're super eloquent, like Tremonde, who doesn't sound like an idiot when he speaks, he takes a lot of pauses. It might be that he's thinking. So if you feel like you want to hop in, go ahead. But you might actually be inadvertently interrupting him. I don't know.
That is
Also-
true.
Yes. Also, I wanted to say, as I was saying, I didn't get much sleep last night, so I've already been awake for a long time, and now I'm currently hopped up on allergy medication, and so this might be a little bit interesting. And I plan on getting loud anyway. First question, though, I'm going to ask some rapid fire questions, so each one of you, and try not to think about it too much. Ron's, coffee or tea?
Coffee and tea. I like a decent tea. I really do. I like coffee.
I believe the
though,
question
too.
was the question was or it was coffee or tea. Let me try this rapid fire question again. Let's
Coffee.
Okay, coffee. All right. Woodman, Wood, the Rickster, Ricky. Bacon or sausage?
Bacon.
I think he said bacon. And Tremonde. Along those same lines of sausage, patties or links?
Links.
Of course it's links.
It would be.
It would be links. Those just came to me. Those just came to me. I'm very hopped up on allergy medications right now. Have you guys ever seen the movie Hostiles with Christian Bale?
No.
That's a pretty good movie. It's 11 something at night. 2-hour movie.
I think any movie when you're hopped up on cold medicine is going to be hilarious at some point.
Well, I should have taken the cold medicine last night, but I didn't. That's the problem. That's probably why I didn't sleep. As unfortunately for me, I wear one of those fancy CPAP masks. I have a CPAP machine. I've had that for like 16 years.
Why
sleep
do you wear a CPAP?
Because I have sleep apnea.
Oh.
If I didn't wear it, I'd have a stroke and die.
Wow.
Yes, my oxygen goes very far down. So if you have a cold and you're stuffy, you can't wear your CPAP mask.
Are you sure it's just not the Swan putting a pillow over your head?
No, I've asked her to put a pillow over my head. She sleeps with pillows over her head, though. Her head. She doesn't have head.
I think anybody who's ever worked third shift does that.
I guess. All right, so rapid fire questions out of the way, I guess. Let's just get a brief synopsis. Rons, what have you been doing this week?
Oh, geez. A little bit of everything. I have been cleaning up my house, getting rid of a lot of junk, looking at new operating systems, Linux, of course. I'm a big Linux fan. And I've been trying to come up with new ways to put the Slaptail Nation out there. In fact, I was very proud of working on the header that I released for Tremonde's last podcast with us. Right. And if you saw it, right, I wanted to pay homage to that. I'm not homophobic. Right. So I put that superstitious, and I worked on that header for a little bit. Right. And I was like, how can I pay tribute to Tremonde?
Okay. I haven't seen it. So is it just a penis font?
Yeah. No, it's not a penis font. But it's it was done in a rainbow color. Right. And I thought it was really cool.
Mine didn't show up in the rainbow color when I looked at it.
Really, it's if you go to
he's talking about the web. He's talking
slaptailnation.com.
about the website, Tremonde.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go
He's
to
talking about the
the
website,
website.
not the actual podcast.
Okay, I'll have to go to the website then and check it out.
I noticed that you're drinking some beverages there. Woody, what you drinking there?
Coffee.
Coffee, not tea.
Yeah, coffee.
Real
Not
quick,
tea.
Ricky. Hot dogs or tacos?
Taco.
Okay. Same question, Tremonde. Hot dogs or tacos?
Tacos.
Interesting. Ron's, hot dogs or tacos?
Jeez, I'm not really a picky eater. I like them both. But
I knew it.
I like tacos. I like hot dogs.
Isn't it? He's so diplomatic.
No, I'll tell you what. I like tacos and I like hot dogs. I really do. However, if you're referring to the sexual sense,
I actually
tacos.
didn't. I actually wasn't, and I'm not sure why you went there. So, I actually wasn't.
But I like tacos. I really do. I think I'm more prone to when I want something quick, I'll have a hot dog for the simple reason I learned how to make like 40 hot dogs for a block party that I had to host. I was part of.
Now this would be a party in your neighborhood that for some reason you're the only straight family there.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, it was
The
part
way
of
you
a
described
community effort, and I was in charge of putting a potluck together. So when you've got to feed like 40 people, you got to learn how to make something real quick. And hot dogs was the easiest. And I learned how to make hot dogs in a crock pot, which, believe it or not, works like a charm. Really does.
It does sound convenient. It doesn't sound particularly tasty to me, but to each their own. To each
Of
their
course.
own. Tremonde, what have you been doing this week?
This week I've been apartment shopping, trying to find a place. I believe I'm going to move back to the area of Battle Creek, currently staying in Augusta. But yeah, that's been my week.
Nice. And for those of you who don't know it, who are listening on the West Coast, Battle Creek is what we like to call Little Detroit.
Yes.
Yes. It's a nice drop-off spot. Fun fact, a lot of people killed in Battle Creek are not from Battle Creek. A lot of them are from Chicago or Detroit, which makes one think. Unless you're from around here and you know why that is. I'd like to know what the Rick's been up to, but it's kind of hard to hear him, so we're just going to nod, and I'm going to make up a story of what Rick's been doing this week. Let's see. Rick starts his day by rolling out of the bed. He rolls out of the right side of the bed as you're looking at it, left if you were laying down. He traipses off to the bathroom, where it takes him approximately 4 minutes to start his urinary stream due to his relatively enlarged prostate. At which point he shakes. At which point he shakes 3 times, not twice, and also applies upward pressure underneath his testicles to make sure the rest of the urine comes out. He washes his hands. He washes his hands because he's a good guy. Sings Happy Birthday song twice, and then meanders off to the kitchen for coffee and some sort of probably oatmeal. I'm going to say oatmeal because he's checking out. He's taking care of his heart. And then
So if it's your birthday, do you sing it 3 times then?
he then scratches himself gratuitously, sits down and eats his breakfast, and gazes out the window at his pond where there's little ducks swimming. How's that? Good?
Wow. I just realized something.
Close enough.
It was close? Great. What'd you realize, Ron?
That if you put a hat on the Rickster, he looks like a bald Where's Waldo.
Oh, yeah, if you have like a little stocking hat?
Yeah.
You gotta do that. You gotta do that picture, Rick. You could do that. You could pull that off.
I already did the turtley enough from Master Disguise.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was good. You could get dressed up in your Gryffindor robes and pretend like you're an old Harry Potter.
There you go.
So now over to you. What have you been up to?
Oh, you talking to me?
Yeah.
Me?
Oh, well, I don't know. You didn't address me. What have I been up to this week? I've been working, as usual, doing my 12-hour shifts, and I'm currently on my days off. That's about it. That's all that my days have been consumed with. Get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, get ready for work, head off to work, which is about an hour drive, work for 12 hours, drive an hour home, hang out with the family for a little while, and then go to bed. That's what I've been doing. My first day off after my stint was yesterday. So yesterday we went paddleboarding, stayed away from people, came back home and chilled out.
Well,
That's what I've been doing.
paddleboarding at?
Oh, at the Fort Custer. Went to Fort Custer. All right, it looks like the Woodman dropped off. I'm sure he'll reconnect. Today's topic is going to be fun and controversial at the same time. If we're not offending people, then we're probably doing something wrong. That's why I look at it. Here's the trend that I've been noticing. Back me up on this, Rons, if you think this is correct.
Okay.
Here's what I've been noticing. People are using social media outlets to express their idiotic opinions, which is fine. That is their right. but they express a lot of opinions that are not based in fact. Not only is that happening, but I see there seems to be a lot of division between people on the things that they say. I'll give you some examples.
Okay.
There was yesterday, this one might be a little bit extreme. Let me say this. I'll go with a less extreme one. One of the people that I know reposted something on their social media about a war is coming, a revolution is coming, and then that's fine if you want to think something like that, but then it immediately blamed Democrats for a supposed war coming. What's anybody's opinion on that particular type of post?
From a political point of view, there has been this rift that's getting ever widened. And what really pisses me off is there's a lot of fake news. Now, I'm not going to talk about the broadcasting news. I mean, you take that for what it's worth because there's some sort of conspiracy theory out there against it. But there's always this people spread rumors faster than the virus itself. And it's pathetic. It really is. You know, I know we joke about race and social and political areas here, but we're all pretty well good friends here, and none of us takes it too seriously. And we can research it, and that's the key thing. I research stuff. I am a moron about researching. The minute you tell me something and I don't believe it, I will research it. Like when you said Tremonde was black, I'm like, no, let me go figure this out, right? And then you told me he was gay. I'm like, okay, that, maybe I can accept. Then you said he has a kid. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. He's a black gay man with a kid. No. Let me hit the keyboard here, right? And lo and behold, I was schooled. I learned that black gay men can have children. I didn't know, but I learned. So I did the research, and then I was told by the person who was actually black, gay, and had a child that, yes, they do exist. So I was given proof that it existed. So it shut me down, right? And if you offer that proof to somebody and you can prove it, right?
It went in a really strange direction. It went in a really strange direction from the question I asked, but whatever.
Well, no.
I was asking more along the lines of, why does anybody think it's important to say that a revolution is coming and then immediately blame the Democrats? First of all,
because
I don't think that.
Without proof. They're acting without proof.
Well, again, it's just a stupid opinion. But again, if a revolution was coming, first of all, let's just say that. If a revolution was coming, then why would it have anything to do with any political party in general other than just the ignorance of people and the state of the country today? I don't think you can blame any political party for that, especially since not everybody identifies as one or the other, and there's all kinds of other groups out there, and there's lots of people that don't, like I said, they don't have any political affiliation whatsoever. So blaming the state of the country on a political party, to me, is pretty fucking asinine. The people that we have to deal with in the government, as an example, do not necessarily represent their party. They're just a bunch of fucktards. And if you're going to be making statements like that, here's what I find is really funny. This is why I find these particular statements really funny. And if you want to make those statements, knock yourself out. That's your right. Whatever. That's up to the social media people to police the stupid shit that you say, like if you're promoting violence. But it seems like the people who make these statements in general are big fat fucks who couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper sack in the first place. So how are you going to fight that revolution? Let me guess what's going to happen if you fight that revolution. You're going to squeeze yourself out your front door and be taken out even faster than the guy who was trying to shoot an arrow at people in traffic at the protest. So you don't look like you can shoot, move, and communicate at your freaking 300-pound self, sucking down a fucking Slurpee at the local 7-Eleven and eating a chili dog in the other hand. And that's my opinion.
I'll let anybody else weigh in on this.
And
Yeah, I agree 100%.
The short answer is
Yeah, thanks, Rick, for contributing to the podcast here.
he's doing his best, man. Doesn't have the greatest connection. He's coming in tinny. He's my he can be my yes man. He can just agree with everything I say. What do you think,
Right,
Shabade?
man.
Was the post credible?
Is it a credible post to say that war is coming? And it's a shared post, so a bunch of people are making those stupid posts.
I think a lot of people are ignorant of a lot of things, and they're not like the Rons who do their research before they respond to something. So I think a lot of it is just ignorance, and I don't know if other things are a factor of that, like fear or what have you. But I still don't know why you would speak on something that you know very little about, especially something of that magnitude.
Well, and why would you say it? To me, it's like, why would you say that in the first place? Is that something that you want to happen? Do you think that's necessary? In my opinion, for example, with Trump, I say for example a lot, kind of like Ron says, right? I think that if you don't like the people in charge, vote them the fuck out.
Yeah,
Or
I agree.
and honestly, a lot of people that make statements like that in the first place are MAGA hat wearing people. So what are you bitching about if you're saying that the Democrats are causing everything when it's a Republican who's the president? How are the Democrats causing everything? I'm pretty sure everybody that's rioting and looting doesn't necessarily identify as a Democrat or a Republican. They're just idiots or assholes. My point is also that I think a lot of the posts that people are making are ruining friendships. That's what I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I would think also there's a South Park episode, right, that deals with this particular issue. It really does. It's basically about trolls. And honestly, when I read some of the posts that some of the things out there, they're trolls. They want to start fights. They want to watch the world burn and step out. They want to cause problems. And then they want to blame the problems on other people. They don't care sometimes about other people. They don't care about anything else other than causing mischief and hatred. And that's a shame. When I look at the political rife between the Republicans and Democrats, are they working together? Is this bipartisan? No, right? Honestly, what's done is done. And yeah, there should be some held accountability, but you know, it's just stupid shit.
Well, then let's take trolls out of the equation. Let's say that it's not people who are just trying to get a rise out of other people. I'm talking about people who are actually making these statements because that's what they believe.
Those are trolls.
No, not necessarily. A troll is somebody who makes it a statement trying to get a rise out of people. That's a troll. They're trolling for this to fuck with people because they get off on it. I'm talking about people that are making statements because that's what they actually believe. They're not making the statement to piss you off so that you respond in a pissed off way. They're making the statement to get support for what they're saying. These are people that I know personally. I know they're not fucking trolls. They're doing it to see what kind of support they get, and they're using social media as their platform to express themselves. That's what I'm saying. It's not like I'm looking at posts not like I'm looking at the Slaptail Nation Facebook page or the Slaptail Squad Facebook page of people that we don't know. I'm talking about people that we know, people that I know. That's what I'm saying. This is what you can't. I'm not sitting there saying that I'm going to worry about ruining a relationship with a troll. I'm talking about people that I actually know. Just like family members, the same thing. That's what I'm saying, where I think that everything that's going on right now, social media is fueling it, and it's giving people are getting into fights with people that they've known for years, or people are ending relationships with people they've known for years, or silencing them for 30 days, or keeping them as friends, but not looking at
Let's make one thing clear. It's not social media that's doing it. Social media is just a platform. It's people using the social media for whatever reason.
I said right? Using social media for that reason, to express themselves.
But more to the point is, do you fall bait for this?
No, you're looking at the wrong. You're misconstruing what I'm saying. I'm not talking about trolling it and baiting it and everything. I'm not talking about me personally doing anything about it because I just ignore it. I
Okay.
don't respond. What I don't understand and what I've seen is how can you know these people for so many years, but they still keep making these statements that are so contrary to what your friendship is. Now, I personally am not unfriending people, but when I see stuff I don't like, I just be like, okay, well, I'll just put them on a 30-day pause until stuff cools out and see what they say. Have you seen these? Have you seen these pictures now of people finding it fun to reenact the picture of the cop with his knee on George Floyd's neck? Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, that's a new thing now. Taking pictures of reenacting the scene.
Oh yeah. I've seen that. I'm sorry, I'm watching porn. I shouldn't be watching porn
Okay, that's
while
all
I'm
right.
doing this.
Yeah, we've had that discussion. It's okay if it's okay if you pay attention a little bit.
No, I've seen the pictures.
No, I
Right.
really wish that Rick had a better connection because he'd be able to weigh in on this also. I think he knows exactly what I'm talking about because we share friends that we've known for years. And it's
I'm not sure.
I don't engage. I know these people. I know they're not trolling. I know that for a fact. They're not trolling. They're actually expressing how they feel, and they're using social media to do it, and that is their right. What I'm saying is, I don't understand, or my whole point is, it's not about me personally, but a lot of people are losing friendships and family relations over the stuff that they're saying. And it's all fueled by their use of social media. A lot of it's fueled by their use of social media because how else do we reach out and connect with somebody? It'd be a lot different if I was face to face with you, Rons, and I said, you know what? There's a war coming, and it's all the Democrats' fault. And then how are you going to respond?
Personally, how I would respond is the same way if Rick or Tremonde said that to me. Okay? I really would. That's my response right there. Is okay.
Exactly. That is my point. Because you're face to face and you're talking, you're like, okay, not a conversation that you want to engage in. But again, when you walk away, what are you going to think in your head about that person?
Oh, that's different. I'm going to think that I honestly don't know, because if I weigh in on that, it's more or less, do I still respect that person's opinion, or am I one of these guys who are going to step away and going, you know what, that's your opinion, and when it happens, right? So I'm always looking for the proof, right? Not the fight, but the proof, right? That's the one thing. And if I don't see it, I don't see it. I can walk away from it. But let's bring our backgrounds into this just a little bit, right? Uh, we've been trained by the military to assess situations really quick sometimes, although not correctly. But we can train just about every facet of a situation when walking into it. And we look for an entrance strategy and we look for an exit strategy. The minute we step into something, we look for an exit strategy. So when someone comes up and goes, I don't like you, right? Start looking for the next strategy, whether it's confrontational or peaceful. There's always an exit strategy. And when these people start doing stuff, your exit strategy, as well as mine, is two things: is to ignore it, right, or deal with it. And by dealing with it, I guess you are ignoring it. But there's also that thing to say, okay, I'm just going to leave you alone. How did you mute him? He's okay.
Making a lot of mechanical sounds. Go ahead and just come back in when you want to talk there, Rick, okay?
Oh, I see. So you're going to mute the white man on this. I see how this goes.
I can take over right now and mute you too. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, see, now I don't know how to unmute them. Look at that. There, can you unmute yourself now, Ron? Oh, well. Boy, I must have really fucked that up. Now I can't seem to unmute him, so I guess you're going to have to talk.
I'm unmute.
There you go.
I was going to bring Tremonde in on this, let him weigh in on this, because he's been really quiet.
Oh. I just want to see if you're understanding my point. I'm not talking about people trolling. I'm saying that relationships are getting ruined over the shit that's going on because people are using social media as a platform instead of talking to people. And that's why, because we've said it a bunch of times. Would you really say something like that to my face?
I would.
Not you. The metaphorical you, ding dong, not you.
So I think that social media has really took away the idea of face-to-face conversations. Because as you said, people will say one thing on social media, but they may say something completely different when they are face-to-face with you. The issue is that if B Man and Rollins was having a conversation, that conversation is just between the two of you, and the only way that it is going to start to involve other people is if you all go out and start to have a conversation with other people. However, that conversation is going to, it can spread, but it's going to spread very slowly. Whereas social media, you post something and you have hundreds of followers, and then that person's repost it, and then it just continues to repost, and now there's just this message being spread around the world, if you will, very rapidly. And so then that is just continuing to be triggers for people, be fuel for people, and you're right. It's causing friendships to end. I'm sure it caused for people to be fired from their jobs, and all these other variables where it's causing damage to people in their lives.
Right. But you yourself, Tremonti, you don't participate in social media per se, do you?
Correct. I've been off of social media for a little over 4 years.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I think I would like to do that. The majority of the people on my social media, on my Facebook page, are my family that most of them I never even met, so a lot of them are in Mexico. And that's kind of a fun way because I can see what's going on with them and they can text me back and forth. But of course, on the new page that we have for our Slaptail Squad, there's a lot of people on there, and I'll go through. I'm not on there all the time, but I'll go through and I'll just take people off. If I see them posting stuff that I feel like is too political for our site, they get taken off. They'll stay our friends or whatever, but I take their stuff off because I don't think that's what we want to be. I don't really want to have anything to do with that.
The one thing that I don't like is, like I said, whoa, put some clothes on there, Tremonti. This is not that type of podcast. All right.
Says the guy who's watching porn.
So, I think that when people post, they don't have this conscience. They want to post, and they believe what they believe in. And me being very cynical, I don't know. I get upset. I'll admit I do get upset because back when people were saying stuff about President Obama, and they were saying that, and I did the research, right? And I said, you're wrong. And then
He
they
is
did
black.
this. Well, yeah, I didn't know
You're
that.
wrong. He is black. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. And then when Trump came along, and of course you schooled me in on some of the facts about him, I'm like, okay, I did the research. But once again, I'm doing the research, right? And if someone did the research and then stopped doing this stuff, right? Like, I didn't know Rick was white. I didn't until he sat down next to me. I thought that was so cool, right? And then once I
you
found
thought
out,
it was cool that he's white?
yeah, I did.
I thought you're like, that is so cool.
And then during the official meeting that when we first met him, then he's like, and we're all introducing ourselves, he's like, you don't know me, don't blame me for anything. And I thought that was so cool. But he's got that look on his face where it's like, you don't know if he's just here or there. That's cool.
Oh, he's there. He's definitely not here.
But then there are certain issues where I'm like, what research do you need to have to see what you are doing, what you are saying is wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I don't understand. If you took away the controversy that's going on in the country right now and just did something simple, Rick and I did a podcast on this. No, we didn't do it. I think, did we do it? No, Doc and I did it, and then Rick and I talked about it. Where I don't understand how you argue with science. See, that's what I don't understand either. I can understand what's going on in the world right now, but how can you argue with science when people will argue with you and say that the earth is flat? Like, wait a minute, that's not Yeah, that's not my opinion. You're arguing with me and saying that that's wrong, as if I'm the one who came up with the concept of the Earth being round. But I'm like, no, that's science. It is actually. It is. It's a sphere. I didn't make that up. That's not my opinion. That's science. Why would you argue with stuff that's an actual fact and argue with people about it as if they're the ones who came up with the idea and they say that's your opinion? Like, well, that's not really my opinion. It's kind of science. You know,
Well, it's hard to change a belief. It really is. And, like I said, the God killer concept is if you stop believing. But if you can show proof that the earth is flat, all right. But the proof is on that the earth is flat is you never see it round from space. It's always flat. Yeah.
so confused by that statement.
Okay. Fair enough.
If you go up in a plane, you can see the curvature of the Earth. The reason why you perceive it as flat is because we're tiny in comparison to the size of the Earth. That's why it looks flat. That's why it's a stupid thing to say.
No.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I also think that people tend to kind of take one bit of information and that's all they cling to. They don't search different avenues of resources or different what's the word I want to use? They don't take the time to look at different variables of what they're posing. They just take one bit and then that's it. They don't use other sources to
Yeah,
they're thinking valid.
Okay. I think to double back on what you're saying, Tremonde, or piggyback on that, sorry, is common sense. I think some of these people just post shit out there and let it fly. There's no common sense to it, right? And I think at some point we all lack common sense, but not to the to the degree that we've seen out there, right? I have not let anybody get to me so bad that I can't walk away from a friendship and come back to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that everybody's entitled to their opinion, whether it's right or wrong. I've said stupid shit. We all know that, and you guys always say, hey, that's just you. You're okay. Yesterday, I was in a situation, and it didn't pertain to me. I was at a thrift store, right? Because I finally got to go to a thrift store, and there was this woman yelling at one of the store clerks, and I mean literally yelling. And I got Carrie by my side. I'm like, okay, let's see how this is going to go down. I
love how before you continue with this story,
okay.
I love how you just always seem to be in these areas where you perceive conflict and you feel like you have to somehow be ready to engage. As opposed to just be like, not my fucking problem, walk away.
Well, the thing is, on that note, you don't know if it's going to spill over to you, right? And right now in our country's history, like it was in the 50s and the 60s, it's do the right thing. If you don't stand up for the right for the right reason at all, you're adding to the problem. And that was, and I hate to bring up the incident that happened up in Minnesota. It really does. But I know that what happened was a tragedy, right? But everybody stood around filming it. Now, granted, those police officers had weapons, but did any of those guys think to engage those those police officers and just push them off of him? Right?
Right.
When the guy said he couldn't breathe, did anybody think about tackling the cops regardless of the consequences?
No, they didn't.
They did.
No, but again, I understand what you're talking about, and that was what came into my mind too while I was watching it also. Why would you just stand there and film while somebody's being actively killed in front of you? That doesn't make sense to me. But again, we don't know what was going through their heads while they're doing it, and we don't know how they would have reacted. Clearly, that you just stood there, and we can sit there and say, "Oh, well, they should have done this," but it wouldn't have changed the outcome because it's already happened.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I think it's interesting that you're always telling me these situations like, well, this person was yelling, so then I got Carrie by my side, and we were going to go over there. I'm like, why? Why
No,
were
I
you
didn't
going to
say
go?
that. I just
Why
said
were you?
if it,
Why were you getting ready? I'm like, just leave. If that's a concern that you have, just leave. Why do
But
you
then
feel
they-
like they need that you're going to get involved with something that could potentially get you killed for no particular reason?
maybe because I'm concerned about the fellow planet and my fellow human beings, right? And I don't want to see anything bad happen.
Uh-huh. Well, maybe you should
Right.
be concerned. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that I wouldn't do that, but all I'm saying is it seems like you're in these situations an awful lot. Maybe you should be going to other places.
Well, I hear Battle Creek is great, but it's called Little Detroit for a reason.
Exactly. No. Okay, so then what happened? Then what happened?
The person got into a shouting match, and of course, they were screaming and everything, and it was just awkward. And then they finally just left, right? But it was less. I don't know what happened. I didn't inquire what happened. I just observed the situation from a safe distance because actually they were right in front of the door. So if I wanted to leave, I was walking into a hornet's nest, so I couldn't leave, right? So I just kind of waited to see where it was going to go.
Ah, all right. So that's what happened. Okay. Well, what about here's another goofy thing.
And I want to say this, Tremonti, you look absolutely fantastic in that blue robe with a little bit of skin showing.
Thank you.
Oh,
Look at that. He's got a little tattoo that says, I love Ron's. That's so cool.
yeah, that's what it says. All right. The Rick just put his hand in front of the camera, and I looked away for just a second, and I thought that he was taking his shirt off. I'm like, what the fuck is going on over there?
Well, does he have a moving sign in the back of his vehicle?
I don't know what that is. He'd have to unmute himself and then tell me. I'm not sure. Now I don't know what he's doing now. Now I keep thinking that because the angle changes and your mind fills things in. I keep thinking I thought that was his penis for a second. I don't know what he's doing over there.
He looks like one of those amateur rioters and looters that's got the camera kind of waving it around.
What's the sign? What is the sign in your car there, Woody? What is that? He's just looking around. Does he even know what we're saying? What is the sign in your car? In your car. What is that? What is the sign in your car? He doesn't know. Okay. All right, moving on.
No sign.
What is that behind you? What is that?
Orbit bid.
Orbit bid? Apparently it's a sign. I don't know. Okay. Oh, here's another thing. Oh, okay. So there's no denying this fact. Let me say that. There's no denying this fact. I love guns. I'll say that. Here's how people react, though. I have the cousin, and he was posting all kinds of things about how guns are bad. You don't need guns. Why do you have a gun? And so he made some post about assault rifles, right? He makes in a post about assault rifles. This was years ago. And says, you don't need ARs. You don't need assault rifles. He just kept going on and on and on about it. And first of all, AR does not stand for assault rifle in the first place. That's insane and it's stupid, and that's not what it stands for. But everybody keeps spouting it off. I'm like, whatever. And he said something about, you don't need them. You don't need them. And I said, well, I have one. And he said, you don't need that to hunt deer, primo, which is cousin in Spanish, by the way. Yeah, I know more than one word. So there you have it. And I just responded back to him.
I believe you need a lot of weapons. I see a lot of deer take out cars, a lot.
Yeah.
You need heavy artillery.
But my response to him was this, well, I don't have it for deer. Which pissed him off. I'm like, well, that's not why I have it. I don't have it for deer. I have it for more than one reason. And for one thing, one of the reasons why I have it is because, I believe I already stated this, because I love guns. Shoot me. No, that's not the right thing to say. I love them. I like them. That's why I have them. Do I have them because I think...
The correct thing to say is shut the fuck up.
Well, but... Again, though, I didn't want to ruin my relationship with my cousin. I just wanted to let him know. I felt that it was better for me to say, wink, wink, I don't have it for hunting. that leaves it open to interpretation. Then he can think in his head, well, why the fuck would he have it? Does he think that he needs it for home protection? I do not have my M4, my AR, whatever you want to call it. I don't have that for protection. That's not what I have it for. I have it for many reasons. Home protection is not one of them. It's much more threatening if you walk in my house and I pull out my broadsword or my shotgun than it is for me to pull out my assault rifle, quote, assault rifle. Racking a 12 gauge is a lot scarier than, pushing on my charging handle or letting
I didn't know broadswords had a charging handle.
No, but at least with a broadsword, especially my training one, if I hit you with that, boy, you're fucked. I don't cut you in half, but boy, that would really suck. You're definitely
broadsword, yeah.
You're definitely concussed and fucked up.
Yeah, I've played with broadswords before.
Yeah. The point is, why, if you don't want to hear what this is what I've been doing. I've either silenced people, or if I start to think that the post that they've written is slightly even controversial, I go by it. I don't even read it. But it gets a little bit harder now, having our own Facebook page and looking at stuff and saying, yeah, if you remember, Ron, that was one of the first things I said about it. I'm like, we really need to make sure that we're looking, and if there's anything that we don't like, that person needs to be removed or silenced or whatever, because we don't want that associated with our page. Thankfully, thankfully, Ron's has a lot of the same, we have a lot of the same opinions on stuff, which is pretty laissez-faire in a lot of respects. We're like, okay, well, I'll have my own opinion on that, and like you said, you'll look into it, but where I'm talking about is just spouting off hate and bullshit, I don't really want to be associated with that. But I'm not too willing to just end friendships right away either. Or people misconstrue stuff. If I say I love guns,
It's really easy to be brave and ignorant when you're sitting behind a keyboard and there's no immediate repercussions.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so what are you saying about me again? No, I agree.
Love your bravery and ignorance, of course.
I agree. That's the one thing. Once again, it goes back to common sense, and let's slap that with accountability. No one has accountability these days. Now, we're all parents here. We all know that big accountability comes into play, but there are a lot of people that never want to be held for that. And when you watch social media, a lot of people just don't care, right? I'm not quick to judge, right, that person until I've done the research and found out about it. Then I'm like, okay, they're just idiots. And do I ignore them? Do I let them on my feed? I don't know. And there are parts of me that really just want to get pissed off at them, saying, okay, this is how it is. But if I get pissed off at them, they win. There's no middle ground sometimes. There really isn't.
Well, you can't argue with you. It's the old saying, right? It's difficult to win an argument with an intelligent person, but impossible with a fucking moron. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically the saying.
Okay, so
but if you look at me, if you look in the country, right, we keep having these little controversies. One of the controversies I can remember is, of course, always guns, but the other one is the border wall. All these people that I feel it's a naive thought process on my part to think that everybody thinks just like I do just because they're my friends. I don't have a lot of friends in the first place, but to sit there and think that. Is that what everybody thinks? Everybody thinks that if you're my friend, we should have the same opinions? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. You can see it the way they post. They post as though you're just going to agree with them.
Right. And I just don't engage with it, but by not engaging, it doesn't mean that I agree with them. Another thing that's been happening is people have been sending me links or videos on stuff that for some reason they think that I would be in agreement with, and I just don't want those. Let me send this out to all of you in Slaptail Nation. Please don't send me links or videos because you think we have the same opinion. If you think we have the same opinion on stuff, then you're probably going to be wrong. I had someone send me a video saying that it was a young black woman, and she was in the first few seconds of the video, she said, "Just let me say that I do not support the people of this nation," and I'm paraphrasing again, "that are making George Floyd out to be a hero. And let me tell you why." And I was like, okay, I'm done. Now I'm done listening. I'm done listening. I don't think that on this whole situation, I do not think that people are trying to make him out to be a hero. I think people are fed up that somebody was murdered right in front of us while nobody did anything. I think that's what people are angry about. I don't think anybody's sitting there saying he's a hero. He's not a fucking hero. Yeah, nobody's doing that. They're saying this is it, man. This is the last fucking straw. How much more of this bullshit do people have to put up with? It doesn't matter if
stop at the ignorance and bullshit.
Yeah, and all these people that are posting like, well, more white people get killed by cops than black people. That may be a true statement, and it probably is a true statement, but think about why that's a true statement. And this is a discussion I had with the daughter yesterday when we were talking about it. She said, well, that is statistically true. I said, yes, statistically it is true, but you also have to remember that black people make up 13% of the population. So it would stand to reason that more
I find that fact wrong because it's the white man who made that number up.
Okay. Anyway, the point is they don't make up 50% of the population. That's my point. So if they're not making up 50% of the population, it would stand to reason that more white people are killed by cops because there are more white people. What, you don't think there's more white people in this country than black people?
I'm not saying anything to the contrary. See, that's the other thing. The minute someone makes a discerning sound, you're like, oh, I'm all over that.
Yeah, but you didn't answer my question.
I didn't have to.
No, you don't have to, but I know that. But if you are podcasting out to the whole world, so what is your answer to that question? Do you think there's more? Do you think there's not more white people in America? Again, if you're looking at scientific fact, you know for sure, you know for a fact that there are.
Yeah, the thing is, and I would like to say I'm colorblind, which is.
That wasn't the answer to the question.
Yeah, no. I'm agreeing with your answer.
You know there are. Okay, yeah, you know.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with your answer, but I'm I'd like to say I'm not racist, but I am prejudiced, and I'm prejudiced against ignorant and stupidity.
Oh yeah, I am too. That's what I hate it when people tell me that I'm not prejudiced. I'm like, yes, I am. If you're a fucking asshole, you're a fucking asshole. It doesn't matter what you look like.
I had a close friend of mine say something derogatory, and I said, my son is black. And he looks at me, really? I said, yeah. For a while, there was a kid that was living in our house, my son's best friend, and he's biracial. And I never saw him as that. I just saw him as my second son. And that's all he was to me. That's all he will ever be to me. And I said, my son is black. And he looked at me and I told him, and I said, RJ, my son, has had several black girlfriends. And he's like, he has? Right? And it's like, why would this surprise you? Right? Just because? And I don't like it when people get racist on me, regardless of color. Right? Now, comedy's one thing. I'm into Richard Pryor, Lenny Bruce, Sam Kinison, Jamie Foxx, Kevin Hart.
We got you. You don't have to list them all out. We understand.
Are you sure? Because I've got a few more.
You don't have to keep going.
My white ass here.
You really don't.
Right.
No.
Cat Williams.
Now, if you remember correctly, last time we said, it really doesn't support your case by saying stuff like, "Oh, I have black friends." That doesn't really support your case.
Are you sure?
No, it doesn't.
Right.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't have to list them off. You don't have to list them
I know a black person.
And Tremonti's just smiling like, yeah, I'm going to get you. I'm just going to get you. But
no, again, though, my point was, I don't know what it was. Oh, yeah. My point is, again, utilizing social media and having this insane thought in my head that my friend should have the same thought process as me. Again, this goes back to what I was originally talking about with the border wall, where everybody was all up in arms about the border wall. I'm like, yeah, we should have a border wall. I'm like, okay, great. Put up a border wall. That's fine. I don't really care. But you're not going to stop people from coming in because of a border wall, right? That's just a waste of money.
They're allowed to come in right at the border and work.
Yeah, so why do you think why do you think a border wall is necessary? Again, you're just hopping on a bandwagon of some douchebag's hype. But if people from Mexico want to come here, they're going to get here. That's the bottom line.
Right.
That they're just going to do it. So again, foolishly in my head, thinking that all my friends. Here's my thing. Why would you accept me as your friend on Facebook? Now, when I look at people's Facebooks and it lists out all their friends, we're talking like a lot of people have like 200, 300, 400 people on their Facebook page. I don't get that because I'm like, well, I don't even have that many friends. Why would I have 300 people on my Facebook page? I remove people all the time. I'm like, I don't even know how they got on there. I'm pretty good about it. But if you accepted me as your friend, knowing who I am, why would you make all these statements in support of the border wall and saying that Mexicans shouldn't be here? But I had one. I actually just did this blanket post a long time ago when this was all going on, border wall this, border wall that, and I just posted something like basically saying that I'm like, guys, you know that if you accepted me as your friend, knowing who I am, do you not think about these things before you post? And if it's not important to you, then just remove me because clearly I'm not your friend.
I think what
My level of tolerance goes on a sliding scale for that. If we barely associate with each other and you're posting shit, I'll immediately remove you. But we've been friends for 20 years and you're posting shit, you get a few chances to piss me off before I'll snooze you for 30 days first.
Right.
Whether
True.
or not you agree is irrelevant. A lot of people are posting just to get the fire started.
Yeah. Yeah, well, but again, I think that it's kind of a blanket statement too. Like you've kind of done that. You've done that on your Facebook where you've kind of just said, "Hey, I might snooze you," and I've done it too. Where I'm like, "Hey, don't get offended if I remove you." It's just because I'm like, I don't need that kind of.
I've heard enough.
Yeah, I don't need that irritation in my life. You have the right to your opinion, but it pops up on my Facebook feed, and I don't want to see it. So I don't think any of our friends or family should take offense when we remove them. That, in my opinion, it doesn't make me like you any less. It just means I don't want that negativity in my life. I'm going to go ahead and remove it.
Right.
But there are a lot of
But
people,
a
and
lot
I've
of
seen the
people
posts.
have that opinion.
Yeah. I
A lot
mean,
of
you're going to find people
have
to
the
share.
opinion that if you remove them, then you shouldn't talk to them in person either.
Which is unfortunate
You know?
because I don't think that's the case. I think that if you remove them, then you're just protecting yourself. Saying, this is just not what I want to see.
Right.
This isn't what I want to see. That doesn't mean I like you any
Right.
less because you have the right to your opinion. But yeah, there's been times when I've been really surprised at the stuff that my friends have posted. I'm still shocked and amazed at the people that I thought I knew really well. And that's their opinion. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make me like them any less. I'm just surprised at how many of them think that Trump's doing a good job. And I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican either.
And the level of defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing when the people that you do not consider intelligent are supporting him. You're like, oh, I can totally understand that. They've bought into the hype. That's cool. Whatever. That's their opinion. What I can't understand is people that I know have a scientific background that is based in fact, and they're supporting someone who lies nonstop and actually believes the shit that he spouts. That's what surprises me. And again, it's the same thing. Like, well, they have the right to their opinion, but it's very easy for me to just say, hey, I'm just going to silence them and not see their posts to take that negativity out of my life. But there are people I know for a fact that are ending friendships over all this, and I don't necessarily think it's necessary. I found out a lot of my friends are fucking straight up racists. And I don't know if they know that they are or think that
Hey, let's use the R word kind of slow. Tremondes here. We don't want to offend him.
Why
You know
would-
what? We've
Why
got to
were we
bring
offended by saying? Why were we offended by
He
saying
looks
that
offended.
the word
He
racist?
looks offended. You know, and you know what? The three non-colored guys are weighing in on this heavily, and Tremonti's just sitting there listening, right? So I would love to hear his opinion on everything, because we're all up at 8 a.m. for him.
You just said the three. Did you just say the three non-colored guys are weighing
That's
in on
what he
this?
said.
You know, it's
This podcast is like an old '80s joke.
yeah. You know,
A good one? Because
yeah.
that's
You know,
all
every
I'm
time
shooting
I
Are
for.
think
we
I'm going to
about
say
to walk
something
into a bar?
intelligent. What's that?
Yeah, we're about to walk into a bar. Horse sits down at a bar. Bartender looks at him and said, "Hey, buddy, why the long face?" No.
I don't get that.
Ah,
Oh, but you know, every time I think I'm going to say something intelligent, I'm reminded, no, I'm not.
Yeah, you're right. Because I want to hear what Tremonde has to say about what the Rons just said.
No.
No, I
Yeah.
want to hear what Tremonde has to say about what Ron's just said. What do you have to say, Tremonde?
So there are. What was it? Something you said the two or
The three. He
non-colored?
said the three non-colored guys just have been weighing in, and we want to hear from Tremonde. What do you have to say about what Ron said?
Jesus. I just wanted to hear his damn opinion.
I just want to hear what Tremonde has to say, Ron.
There's for certain two of us on this podcast out of the four that is considered to be colored. Going back to something that
Just making sure, Ron. Just making sure you caught what Tremonde just said, Ron.
2 or 4. Half.
6.
Going back to, I'll start with the social media. We have defined, or we have allowed social media to like define our relationships. The moment someone befriend us on Facebook or any other social media site, we feel as though, oh, we have a new friend, and we have not even established any type of relationship, haven't even shaken hands, but yet this is someone who I now considered as a friend. And it's like, how do we get to that point to where the number of people we have listed as our friend on Facebook, or the number of likes a picture can get that we post, like where did it get to that starts to make us feel good about ourselves?
Which is sad. You're right. That is sad. Where did we get to that point?
Very
absolutely.
sad. Very sad. And going back to something Deron said earlier about, you know, people choosing to video instead of intervening with the situation with George Floyd. And you would think that the right thing to do would be to go up and to interject yourself to separate the two. However, as Blacks, we're kind of at the point to where we've been doing the right thing. We are keeping our hands up where they can be seen. We are not being combative. We are not arguing. We are not doing, you know, these things that we're told not to do. Like, we're doing the right thing, but the right thing is still getting us killed. And so for someone to record it, that is honestly the only way we will ever get George Floyd's story.
Oh, I agree with that. I really do. But at some point, I mean, and I'm not taking away from the injustice there, what happened, but when you see a lot of other things happen, like the protesters and the rioters and looters. Now, I've got nothing against protesting. Let me state that, right? But you get these guys who are looting and protesting, and instead of stopping them, everybody's filming it. I mean, they're not doing the right thing, right?
But at this time, like Tremonde said, that people feel like that's the only thing that they can do because that's what's ingrained into their heads. We're looking at, and you're talking about the majority of, I think a lot of the people that are filming this are young people who are already, in my opinion, snowflakes. What do you really think that they're going to do to intervene in any way? And there's a different perception too. Just like my older brother he's dark skinned, but he looks like a dark skinned white person. And he doesn't look like he's half Mexican. He looks like a dark skinned white person. Okay. And he gets pulled over a lot because he's always fucking speeding. He's always doing something wrong. And one of the times I talked to him, he had been talking about getting pulled over, and he said, you know what? I've realized now, and he's 3 years older than me, so he's 50 years old. He's like, I've realized now that when I get pulled over, I need to put my hands up on the dash. So he's had a perception of his life, his whole life, basically, of being a white man, is really how he's lived his life. And now at 50 years old, he said, I need to put my hands up on the dash. I'm like, yeah, dude. The one time recently that I got pulled over, I started to bitch the cop out, and then I remembered. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm not white. I need to shut the fuck up. Because I'm not going to get away with what my friends get away with when they freaking start bitching out a cop that pulls them over. So it's a different mindset, it's a different perception. I think it depends on how old you are and what color your skin is. And that's not something that we can change. Shit, I've been telling my wife and my kid, and I say it in a joking manner, but I'm not kidding. I'm like, I'm going out of my way this year to darken myself up probably darker than I've ever been.
You're almost Tremonde dark. I could not tell you two apart.
Yes. And he is trying to look like me with a beard a lot of times.
Well, I noticed you guys both have matching tattoos, it looks like, so, you know.
I got mine first. I'm kind of a mentor.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you know, we've got the Ricks in the car. I mean, he's trying to get a tan there, but I don't know.
You get burned.
Going back to what Ron said earlier, I agree with the looting and things like that. That I am not in favor of at all. And I've seen different sides of it. I've seen one video post where a black woman was filming a white woman who was going around spray painting and tagging buildings. And
yep.
The black woman was very upset about it because she's like, the blacks are going to get blamed for this.
I saw that same video. Yes, I did. I agree.
And then I saw another video of older black woman. She was in a store, and I feel like I want to say that it was in New Jersey, and she was at a store that she works at, and she was part owner of, trying to fix it back up. And she's on her video saying, for those of you who are saying Black Lives Matter, Black lives don't matter, because here I am, a black business owner, and now I have to come and take care of what you destroyed of mine. But yet you're saying Black Lives Matter. So what about my black life right now? No, I'm not, being arrested or obtained or getting killed by officers. But if my life matters just as much as some other black person, why are you doing this to my business? Right. So I've seen a lot of different sides of.
Yeah, go ahead, Rick.
This exactly is what's been puzzling me. Why are they destroying the businesses of black people and
because they don't discriminate.
Just picking on the white people,
because they don't discriminate. I agree. It doesn't make any sense.
They're fighting for black lives.
Right. But you have to remember, and this is the same point that I've made to lots of people. Well, yeah, but it goes back to what I've said when people think about the military. A lot of people have told me, like, oh, yeah, all military people are really good, self-righteous, et cetera, that join the military. I'm like, no. That's not true. I'm like, you have a misconception. I'm like, we're all individual people. There's plenty of people who were in the military who are pieces of shit, who are criminals and thugs. I'm like, it's the same thing with black people and I'll say it now, brown people and white people and whatever race or nationality or ethnicity you have to be. There are plenty of good people and there are plenty of shitty people. So it's one of those things where, again, I understand what the whole Black Lives Matter thing is, but honestly, it's individual. If you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit. You can't tout that you're some great person just because of what color you are. Either you're a piece of shit or you're not a piece of shit. So all these people, when they're looting and burning.
Shit, and I'm fighting for black people. I'm not going to mess up a black person's business.
Well, it doesn't even make sense, but do you know if it's a black person's business or not? Again, these people are just interested. They're just interested in being violent. They're just interested in watching the world burn. That's what they're interested in. Until they get a foot shoved up their ass. Which is what probably needs to happen. But again, if there's no, like you said, there's no solidarity. And if you've got people protesting peacefully and then you've got assholes in the crowd who are there to make just a protest and fuck shit up, that really doesn't make your protest worth a damn. You pay the price for a bunch of fucktards.
At first, I thought it was just because that was the only way they're going to be heard, is if they're tearing things up and messing up the city and making a big ordeal out of everything and causing as much damage as possible. But then you watch it, and a lot of it's about how much can I get while this is going on, and a lot of them aren't even concerned about the actual protest.
Right.
And then we have the plants too, that the people are being hired to go stir up trouble.
Yeah, I mean, if you believe that, if you don't believe that, it depends, I guess. I don't say it's out of the question. But then again, there's people out there
I'm
who
on the fence whether I believe it or not. I've seen a little bit of proof that kind of makes it realistic.
But there's also a bunch of crazy people out there who say stuff just to say stuff. So I don't know.
What I've really been
where we started.
What I've really been looking at and following is what can I see, not necessarily what somebody else said or their interpretation. I look at what's been recorded and then I can draw my own conclusion from that. I've seen videos at peaceful protests, and I'm not even going to mention any races, just so it doesn't become a black-white thing. I've seen peaceful protests where a woman was on her knees peacefully protesting, and a cop came up and pushed her down. Another officer walked after him, very angry, expressing her feelings as to why that young lady was pushed down. I've seen video footage of officers who are busting out windows in stores, and no other officer is telling them to stop. I've seen a video of an older man walking alone, and he was pushed down by officers. And when another officer went to assist him while he was bleeding out of his ear, he got pulled off, and no one really came to his attention right away. Now, not even talking about race. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And these are humans that these things are being done to.
Right. It should be a matter of
Agreed.
acting as a member of the human race instead of basing it on color. Again, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter what color you are. Either you're an asshole or you're not. If you're an asshole, then you should be called out for being an asshole. If you're not, then great.
And the issue is with that is that we have assholes as police officers.
Yep.
So how can there be
the majority
four police officers? How can there be 4 police officers standing around and no one chooses to step in and intervene? But if the person filming, if they do it, now how many lives do we have down there on the ground?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's the whole thing is bullshit. If you watch the reconstructed video, it also shows that he was in the car already. He'd already been put in the back of the cop car. They pulled him out and did.
He was complaining, I think, because he was claustrophobic. I don't know how true that was.
He was not in the car very long.
Yeah.
So you're gonna make him more. You're gonna make him a little bit more claustrophobic by pulling him out and putting your knee on his neck. I just don't think. I don't think that it's important. I don't think that anybody needs to be in support of what happened. The bottom line is, it's not saying that you don't support cops. What's saying is, I don't support these assholes that did what they did, and I don't support the bad apples that make the cops look bad. That are pieces of shit.
I have a brother-in-law.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
No,
Ron knows somebody who's a cop.
My brother's in law
Everybody
enforcement.
knows somebody who's a cop. Anyway.
No, my brother is in law enforcement. He's a federal agent. And you know what? It gives cops a bad name. It's like me being white. All protesters that have done the looting that were white aren't bad people. I'm not a bad person. But are you going to lump me into those assholes who cause problems?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Instead of looking at the color and say, well, this person did this, I'm like, no, it's because they're a fucking asshole. It doesn't matter what color you are. Either if you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit.
The other thing is, what's the real story? If you ask me, and I know this is going to come out bad, so I'll say it anyway, do I hit my wife? Yes, I hit my wife. I really do. Now, there's the backstory to that no one cares about. They just heard that one statement, I hit my wife. I'm a bad person. Now, if I said
but
my
you don't
wife,
have to do the backstory. You don't have to do the backstory. What you should have done instead was if somebody, I don't know why anybody would ever ask you if you hit your wife.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to say I hit my wife. What you could, You want to throw the backstory. You're saying, yeah, I hit my wife. No, what you should say, it's a mindset. You're like, no, I train with my wife in martial arts, and yes, we do strike each other. But instead you go, yes, I hit my wife. Why wouldn't you just say it the other way?
Because
It's for shock value. You do it for shock value instead of just saying
hey,
what
I
you
am
should
the
have said.
Howard Stern sometimes of this. No, but the thing is, when people find out that I do martial arts, and
Did you know that? Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that Ron is a martial artist? Because he mentions it.
I
He's
feel
never
like I
mentioned
heard
it.
a couple
Every
times.
He's
podcast.
never ever mentioned it before.
But the thing is, when someone says something, and this is where I'm going. When someone says something out of context, or what you think is out of context, and you don't know the backstory, we run with that story, right? And with a little research, we find out that, oh, Ron doesn't hit his wife out of anger. He trains with her.
Again, but if you answered the question the way you answered it, what do you expect them to think? You could have just said, no,
I expect no.
You could have said, no, I don't hit my wife. I do train in martial arts.
Sense. And I guess it's kind of a bait thing. I expect them to use common sense.
Yeah, but you baited them in. You led up to, you kept baiting it in. You could have just said, no, I don't hit my wife. My wife and I train together, and as part of training, we do have to strike at each other, and I've struck her there. But you don't have to. You didn't have to say. You didn't have to say, yeah, I hit my wife.
Look at Tremonda. He's biting at the bit to see something.
Because that would be just like me saying I'm a dealer, and then you're going to think what? I deal what?
Blackjack. We have a lot of casinos around here.
Cards, of course.
Yeah. So your initial think I deal drugs, but as Ron said,
blackjack. Unless that's is that street slang for meth? I don't know.
But depending on like who you are and how you look, it can be interpreted as one thing. But as you said, I could easily be a card dealer at a casino. It's just a matter of how you phrase it. So I wouldn't go up and say, yeah, I'm a dealer, because it's going to give a different connotation. It's going to possibly mean something different than what the intent it actually is.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, you should say you do martial arts.
Still, I hit my wife.
I've had an interaction with a police officer because I have domestic violence in my background. Despite the story, the cop tried everything he could do to get me to get violent while he was doing his thing. And to prove it, at the end of the whole thing, he picked me up by my hands behind my back and whispered in my ear, "You're not very violent, are you?" That
sounds more like a fetish.
Saying, I hit my wife because you practice.
Yeah.
That sounds more like.
Despite my mixed background, I'm about as white as they get.
No way. Here, I thought it was my video setting.
Yeah, aren't you like Native American or some shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've known a lot of fairly white Native Americans, actually.
Wow. So I am the only white person here then. I am the minority.
For once, there you go.
And you're right. Sometimes I say stuff and I don't think about it. And I've really tried hard not to be a complete jerk about that. I really have. It's like
No, we count on it, Ron.
Yeah, we prefer that you say that stuff, because if you didn't, what else would we talk about?
Yeah.
This is the best part of the show for me.
Yeah, it's not we're not trying to get you to learn a life lesson and change.
No, I think after meeting Tremonda the first time last week was like, that was a life lesson in itself. And honestly, when I started out saying stuff,
research if he was black and had a kid.
Yeah, why? I don't know. I hope that wasn't true. I hope you didn't actually do that.
No, that wasn't true. I mean, geez.
That would be a little scary if you actually did. Because when you said that, I was like, I didn't know if you were serious or not. Because in the back of my head, I'm like, well, you know what? He might have done that.
No. But sometimes and I have a habit. I think a lot of people have a habit of speaking without thinking without speaking, and I am really trying to stop that.
Yeah, but again, for you, it's if you're doing it with people who know you, I don't think anybody thinks that you're being malicious. My worry for you, Ron, is that you will say it to somebody who doesn't know you, and the next thing you know, somebody's punching you in your throat or pulling a gun on you.
Or thinking I'm a dealer.
Right, exactly. So no, I just wanted to talk about it and see
The
what
good
anybody
news
said.
is that he can come up with a backstory pretty quick.
Right,
Illustrate his point.
exactly. And I mean, and on the thing, the other good thing is that he's a martial artist and should be able to defend himself, or at least fall appropriately.
Is he?
Oh, I can take a hit
I had
like
no
anybody
idea.
else. I can bleed just like anybody else.
I will
can.
definitely
I
fuck
for one
somebody's hand
cannot.
up.
I cry every time.
I'll definitely fuck somebody's hand up with my face. I'll tell you that right now.
And that's the way it should be done.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Well, I just wanted to get some opinions on it. It was not as funny as I wanted it to be because Ron was being difficult. But
I was not being difficult. You were spouting. I was letting you spout. Right? Rarely do you ever
The
overtake a
podcast should be called
conversation.
Blame the Rons.
blame the Rons.
And, this
Especially
is
when you get
I
it's a case of the Rons.
And then I try to turn it over to Tremonde, and he's just sitting there, and he's like, he says a couple of words, and then he goes back to being quiet, and you go back to ranting for about 20 minutes. Then we go to Rick, and we don't know if he's gonna drop connection or not. Then I try to kick it back over to Tremonde, and there he is, just smiling away. And then he says, "I agree with what the Ron said earlier," and then you chime in for another 20 minutes. So you've got to give up.
My fucking podcast. My fucking podcast. I pay for it. I pay for the podcast. I pay for the graphics.
Not
I
to
pay for the
mention
equipment.
Tremonde's cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, he is. I have to admit, in all this adversity, he's the one like, I'm okay with it. Right?
You know why he's like that?
No, why is he like that?
Confidence comes with a large penis.
Wow.
What do you have to prove to anybody?
Is that why
Yeah.
Rick doesn't say a whole lot of things?
And that's why I don't have any confidence. You know what I mean?
That's precisely why. we need to find an angry gay black man.
An angry gay black man?
So who would that be? Don't look at me.
Don't ask Ron. He only knows one gay
I
person.
don't know.
Right.
Don't ask Ron. He's increased his association with gay people by 100%.
Yeah. And I think the reason about the podcast is because there's that delay. So we're if we were in real time, the response is much, much, much more quicker. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
When I was sitting next to, when we had that first meeting, I was sitting next to Rick, and we're all introducing ourselves. And I love how he fed off of me. He's like, and we'll turn it over to Rick. It's like, I don't know you people. Don't talk to me. Or something like that. And I'm like, we just need Tremonde here. Where is he?
I'm
And it's
looking
like,
forward to getting back in the same room.
Yeah,
Oh,
don't worry.
same here.
It'll happen. It'll happen soon.
and
It'll
and
happen soon.
I'm glad that I finally met Tremonde because I thought he was just made up the way you guys always talked about him. Right? I didn't know he existed. I thought you just didn't have anybody to fill in that slot.
Right. Well, if you listen to the podcast, you'd
He
have
was
heard him on
man's girlfriend
other
from
podcasts.
Canada.
Right, exactly. That was only when I was in high school. She
So are
broke
you
up with
saying
me.
Tremonde is Beatman's girlfriend from Canada then?
Oh, I'm a lot older than Tremonde.
I never, oh, wow. So you like him young then from Canada?
No, but
Tremonde.
Tremonde's boyfriend does. He likes him young.
You don't know him. He doesn't go to this school.
Right. And he'll probably never meet him.
And I think that's one of our future podcasts is we should ask how we all met our prospective halves, right? Because I think it would be interesting from everybody's point of view.
Oh. I think that if I remember correctly, Ricky, I think he babysat her when he was in high school, right?
Oh,
Her sister
wow.
and my sister were
Wow.
friends. They were like,
Tremonde just did a head plant down now. What?
I mean, did you used to be your wife's babysitter? Because is she a lot younger than you? And
yeah,
Wow.
dude, it's only 5 years difference. Holy cow!
I guess as long as as long as you didn't know then that you were going to marry her, it's okay.
Wow, I thought I said some
Mind your
controversial stuff, but you just knock it out of the park.
That's what I do.
So-
That's what I do.
So Ron,
Yes, sir.
that didn't compare to what you say.
No, it never does. Especially when you said that being black was an option. Being black and gay was an option. That was
When
the
did I
best.
say that?
You said that on the last podcast.
I don't think I said
Who
that
said
because I
that?
did listen to the last podcast. I don't think I said that.
I said that Tremonti was a threefer, and you said, "Oh, okay, so he's black and gay. What's the other option?"
Yeah, I said what's the other option? I didn't. I
Which
see.
means that black and gay would have been an option.
Wow, I like how you say that. Yeah,
Yeah, go back and listen to it. That is what you said.
Freedom.
And then Tremonti said, "I didn't.
What
Black
the
is not
other
an option." Yeah. No, exactly.
wow. Yeah. Let's just
Well,
let's
I
just
don't
turn the
know his
entire world
husband.
against me.
He can change to white whenever he wants.
Yeah, well, that was one of those things I was gonna say, because I've known when Ron said that there was 3 people here that weren't of color. I was gonna say to Ricky, well, yeah, Ricky's known me for a long time. Back when he knew me, I was white. This is just an option for me. Later on, I changed.
Okay. I'm just
I've
yeah.
only seen one black man that can do that. It was Arsenio Hall.
Jesus. I'm just gonna
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
Tracy Morgan did not do a good job on 30 Rock when he tried it.
No, he did not.
That was not good. All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up so we can get on with the rest of our day. I did want to say that everybody remembers by the time you hear this, of course, it will be a couple days after the invasion of D-Day, commemorating the invasion of D-Day. If you know any World War II veterans out there, thank them. Unfortunately, there's not that many left. And apologize to them for the worthless pieces of shit that we've become. What was your question, Rons?
I'm sorry. I thought one of you guys was named. No.
Say it again.
Well, I screwed that up. You know what? I'm going to put a mental note to myself. I apologize. I was going to say, do you like coffee?
Why, yes, Rons. I do like coffee.
All right.
What else did you have to
Apparently his
say?
nipples are brown.
Well, yeah, exactly. And why would you ask that, Rons, if I liked coffee?
I thought that you were going to mention Scars and Stripes coffee
Oh, why don't you mention Stars and Stripes coffee?
because I don't drink their coffee.
Would you like a sample of their coffee?
Sure. Why not?
Well, then I guess you should plug the coffee.
So, yeah, Scars and Stripes coffee. Let me punch that up real quick.
Say, Ron, do you like coffee?
Delicious.
I do.
If you're interested in getting some coffee from a veteran-owned business, then check out Scars and Stripes. That's Scars and Stripes coffee at ss.coffee/beavers. And that will take you directly to a veteran-owned site for Scars and Stripes coffee where you can get some of that coffee. And if you want a free sample, Ron's, I'm sure that if you reach out to that proprietor, she'll send you some coffee. Also,
And they do a lot of good.
that was a great career. And they do a lot of good. And it's
Well, I didn't want to screw anything else up.
All right, perfect. All right. Anybody else have anything to add? Too bad. Show's over. Nothing? All right, well, then that's it for me, the Beeve Man, saying thank you, members of Slaptail Nation, for listening to the Slaptail Squad. Thank a WW2 vet if you see one. There's not that many out there. And like I said, apologize for becoming a bunch of pieces of shit so that they don't feel bad that they kicked Hitler's ass for us. All right, that's it from me.
All right. Take care, everybody. Be safe. And nice talking to you.
I'm out.
Adios.